I'd like to welcome you to the Wise Woman Rising program, a 4-week journey to reclaim your body's wisdom, honor your story, and rise in your power. This is a transformational space to reconnect with your hormones, your cycles, and your inner power. I'm Dr. Tiffany Keenan, and I'm so glad you're here. Today, I'm honored to be joined by wise woman Tracy O'Leary, who will be sharing pieces of her story, her insights, and the wisdom that's carried her forward. These conversations are part of a greater movement, reminding us that healing isn't linear and that through sharing, we rise together. Tracy, thank you so much for being here. How are you feeling as we begin?
Very nice. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. Lovely to be here.
Oh, you're so welcome, Tracy. And so, as you begin, can you just tell folks a little bit about yourself? And we're interested in hearing your wisdom.
Okay, so my name's Tracy O'Leary. I'm the founder of Grounded Living, and I help entrepreneurs overcome self-doubt, frustration, and overwhelm by combining ancient spiritual principles with mind-body science so that people can manifest the most grounded, aligned, and successful version of themselves. And I live in Italy, mother of two lovely teenage daughters, and help entrepreneurs around the world really with these spiritual principles and coming home to themselves. So, the three pearls of wisdom that I would like to share today, the first one is very topical, very relevant, because I'm actually running a 5-day challenge next week on this very topic, which is the power of presence. This is something I truly believe in, that presence is our superpower. Um, Most of the time, we are not present. Um, we are lost in thought. We're all over the place, everywhere except in this generous present moment, which is the only moment that we actually have. The illusion of linear time is simply generated by our left hemisphere, a necessary illusion to actually survive and organize ourselves in society. But we need to also see beyond the illusion of linear time and realize that there is no past, there is no future, there is only the present moment and the quantum present moment. And all of your past and all of your future is contained in the present moment. The paradox of time is that the more present we are, the more time expands so that we can get more done, we can be more productive, but also we can feel happier. It's well known that the more distracted we are and the more lost in thought we are, the more our mind wanders to the past and the future, the the more we feel depressed or anxious, the more we lose our connection with ourselves, and we start to worry, when we're thinking about the future too much, we tend to get anxious. When we're thinking about the past too much, we tend to get a bit nostalgic or depressed. And we lose sight of the fact that our life is unfolding right here, right now, in this never before experienced moment. And we're always like rushing on to the next moment as though the future is somehow more important than the present. We're trying to almost escape this present moment. And yet, when we slow down and really connect with the present moment through even the breath, which is the easiest vehicle back into the present moment, the breath, every time you connect with your breath, you come back to the present moment. Every time you connect with your body, you come back to the present moment, because the body always lives in the present. It's the mind that really does. So we have this beautiful gift. Like, how many times do we actually take a conscious breath during the day? We take about 20,000 breaths during the day, but how many of them are we actually aware of? And yet, it's the most important thing for our survival is our breath. And it's the easiest way to come back to the present moment. Every time we remember to come back to the now, to step out of the thought stream of whatever story we're playing in our mind, and come back into the present moment, we suddenly realize it's like we decompress. We suddenly realize just how lost in thought we were, and how none of that is actually important. What's really important is what's happening right here, right now, where our life is unfolding. Every time when you think about like the times in your life when you felt happiest, you were also present. You were not lost in thought. You think about the time, every moment in your life when you've been feeling unbelievably happy. You've been present in the moment. And we miss our life. It's literally passing us by because we're not present. We, if we can't feel happy in this present moment, there is no guarantee of future happiness. Everything depends on how we are feeling now. We're creating our future right here, right now. And we don't even need to be meditating all the time. We can also weave into our day different mindfulness activities, because mindfulness at the end of the day is just the quality of attention to the present moment. So we can be present even while we're cutting the vegetables for dinner. We can be present when we're having a conversation with our loved ones. How often do we actually really listen, put down our phones, give the person we're talking to the gift of our full presence and attention, and not not, at the same time be thinking about something else we need to be doing, but just be there, non-judgmental awareness and attention and presence. Our relationships all improve when we give our loved ones the gift of our full presence. Also, our relationship with our body improves when we are more present with our body, and we can tune in to the body's messages and listen to the body's wisdom. There's a saying in Italian, la mente, the mind lies, because the word for mind and the word for lies is the same, mente. And it's very true. It is the mind trap. But every time we tune into the body's wisdom, we we can listen to those subtle messages of what our body is telling us when we are present with our body and we sort of taking care of it. How often are we present with the food that we're eating? Right? We nowadays, food is sort of something we quickly wolf down before we rush off to an appointment. And we rarely slow down enough to practice mindful eating, really fully savoring each mouthful, and tuning into our five senses and enjoying our food, which our food is yes, nourishment for our body, but it can also be a portal to the present moment when we're fully present with our food. In a nutshell, every area of our life improves when we bring more presence to it. And the quality of our life just improves exponentially the more present we are. And the more present we are, very often the less stressed we are. Because what's the hallmark of stress, right? High adrenaline, high cortisol, monkey mind at the helm, right? The more stressed we are, we're running on the hormones of stress, the more our thoughts become scattered. Our thoughts become like the monkey that's jumping from one branch to another. We can't hold on to a thought for long enough to actually stay focused and give it our full attention, let alone another person we're talking to and listening to, because our thoughts are so scattered. We're literally like, oh, one thing, oh, I've got to remember to do that. Oh shit, I haven't sent that email. Oh, I've got to do that. Oh, hang on, what time is it? Oh, I've got to be at that place. And we become so scattered and all over the place. And that's like the opposite of being present and grounded. But we can be we can live so much better and get so much more done as well when we slow down and become more present. And we can also then be more aware of what we're giving our attention to, what thoughts are present in our mind, because, where attention goes, energy flows, and our thoughts and what we're giving our attention to is what's creating our reality. So when we're not present, we have no idea what thoughts we're giving our attention to. We could be totally creating our reality by default, creating what we don't want to experience. So, yes, presence is your superpower. And if anyone wants to join the Power of Presence Challenge, they're still in time.
We'll be sure to link that, Tracy. And I'm so glad you brought it up because for me, this power of presence was my first transition. So, for so many women, we have busy brains. And I'm sure many of your clients discuss the same thing. They say, I can't turn my brain off. Well, when I was 41, I was driven, I was busy, I had a lot of things on the go, and I got very overwhelmed and frustrated. And when I started learning of mindfulness to pay attention to the present moment, it was life transforming. And when I learned that you can only do so many things at one time, and for me, I remember I started mindfulness with Deepak Chopra on one of those 21-day challenges. And then also, I got things out of my head and I started like writing things down in a day planner because I felt that that really helped to get things out of mind into paper so that I could more logically organize. And then, of course, the breath work and everything else. So, this power to come back to this moment, it is so true and so real. And I think a lot of women, especially as they go through hormone transitions, the mind can get very active. And like you said, the mind can lie. I love that expression. And people think that the mind is who they are. But when they realize that the mind is full of thoughts, the mind is highly intelligent, right? But that we have to direct the mind, bring it back to the present moment, and we know that the breath is such an incredible anchor. It's one of the easiest things we can do. So in the women's workshops that I ran last year, the first practice was on breath, because
Yeah.
without that bit, we could be on all the supplements, all the drugs in the world, but without coming back to this moment, where are we going to find the fun? Where are we going to find the joy? Because it's living in the now, like it's being here now.
Yeah, totally. The joy is in being here in the now. Exactly that.
So we could
Yeah.
almost end it with one quote, but let's go on to your second and third bits of wisdom for us.
Well, the second bit of wisdom is actually an expansion on that, the mind lies. So, and I would say in a nutshell, it's this, don't believe every thought you think. Uh, the mind will get you into trouble 9 times out of 10. Especially don't believe every thought you think after 9 p.m. In fact, almost don't believe any thought you think after 9 p.m. Don't believe any thought you think when you're very tired, stressed, hungry, or emotional. Those are the particularly treacherous sort of situations in which the mind tends to lie. Um, and our mind, if we look at it, zoom out to the brain, its job is to keep us alive. It's not to keep us happy. And so it's hardwired to pre-programmed to warn us about any potential source of danger. And will, if it can make us worry, it will, in the sense that it sort of likes to remind you of the potential dangers that are there, the pitfalls, the things you've forgotten to do, the things you could worry about. And so it's just remembering that we must never take thoughts at face value and just believe them just because I'm thinking this thought. You are not your thoughts. You are the observer of your thoughts. And you get to choose. You get to choose which thoughts you give your attention to. You can choose to withdraw your attention from any thought and discard it and switch your attention to another better feeling thought. But we can only do that when we develop a little bit of clarity of distance, a little bit of mindful awareness of our thoughts. For many years, most of my life, and probably until about 8 years ago, I never had any clarity of distance from my thoughts. I believed every single thought I thought, which is what got me into trouble so many times. And so there's my thought and there's me. Like there's no distance between them. But when you learn to take a step back and look at that thought and think, okay, that thought making me feel good? Is that thought taking me in the direction of my best self and of my desires, or is it taking me away from my goals and my best self? Is it making me feel quite miserable, that thought at the moment? Is it the same thought I've been thinking for every day this last year? So we can start to be a bit more objective and realize that our thoughts are not always helping us. And so they're not that important at the end of the day. It's, and we can let them go. We can always choose to think a better thought, a better feeling thought. Um, so that's very important. Also realizing that when our thoughts suddenly turn south and we suddenly start trending negatively and we sort of going down, our thoughts are sort of becoming more and more bleak and we're going into sort of more fear-based, worrisome thoughts. Often there is at the basis of that an unmet physiological need. And so I find the best thing is to bring in some self-compassion and catch yourself in the moment that your thoughts are spiraling down and ask yourself, okay, what what do I need right now? What do I need right now? Because sometimes that unmet physiological need, it can be as simple as I need a nap. I need some fresh air. I need to go for a walk and get stretch my legs, get some exercise. I need some sunlight. I need I need a glass of water. I need to hydrate. I need a snack. I need to eat something. I've been going all day, or I need a hug. Or I need to just ring a friend and have a chat and feel some connection. Um, there can be many things that we need. But until we stop and pause and ask ourselves that very important question, what do I need right now? Instead of blaming myself because I can't control my negatively spiraling thoughts, being a bit more self-compassionate enough to pause and ask myself, what do I need? That has really helped me many times. Um, yeah, self-compassion is a big one.
And I think, Tracy, like again, you hit it spot on with the thoughts and self-compassion. Because I find as women, women generally are carers, they are oft the ones raising the children, taking care of the family. And this piece about self-compassion can become quite difficult to take the time to pause because they're caught up in the busyness of their life and
Mm,
all of the things and the thoughts of what they need to do. But the realization that thoughts are only thoughts, it can be a game changer. I remember I taught a group of grade 10 students, and it was a mindfulness-based program. It was 6 weeks long. And at the end of the program, they had to draw a little poster of what was their one takeaway from the program. And the one thing that several of the girls wrote, and they made a little picture, was that thoughts are just thoughts.
yeah.
Because we get so carried up in our mind with everything that we're thinking. And I love it when you said that we just literally need to pause, step back, and realize there's something talking in our brain, but that is not who we are. And that we
Mm,
look at what we really need right now. Because I love it again, the brain is designed for safety, right? And so those thoughts will kind of swirl all around. But taking that nice Here in Canada, we have a lot of eagles. And so we take that, that wide angled eagle's view of being up in the clouds, just kind of floating around to truly see the big picture instead of
Yeah.
getting so focused on, I'm so busy, I'm so stressed out. What is this thing that I can do next? Um, and and then the self-compassion, when you start to remember that thoughts are just thoughts, that you can take time to remember who you are as a woman or as an individual. And
Beyond the noise in our heads. Yes, exactly.
right, we're so much more than that.
Yeah, exactly. And the hardest thing is to be gentle with ourselves all the time, not just when it's convenient or when we feel like it, and the rest of the time we're beating up on ourselves. Because, like, law of attraction, guilt is real. And we all know that we should be thinking positively, but there are times when that can be a challenge. And to know that that's not making you a bad person, and it's just like the mind that's a little bit spiraling out of control in that moment, but it's not you, gives you then legs, lets you off the hook in a little bit. They just see that it's just the mind's activity and there's nothing wrong with you.
Right, it's that ability to say, okay, I feel like crying right now, and that's okay, and I'm just going to cry or bawl, whatever I need to do. But then it allows us also to release that emotion, because a lot
Yeah.
of times we hold on to it and we think, I have to tough it out. I can't do this. Or, like, again, for example, a nap. Like, if you're exhausted because the kids were up in the night, and there's nothing wrong to lay down for a nap in the middle of the afternoon. That's what your body needs to allow
Mhm.
ourselves to process this, getting to know ourselves, right? Just really all expressions of who we are.
Yeah, exactly. And loving ourselves through all of this.
And
Loving
that's
ourselves on our messy journeys of healing. Yes, exactly. And it's I found one thing that I find helpful sometimes if you're having a hard time, a hard day, or a difficult moment, is, as weird as this is going to sound, talking about myself through the eyes of my inner being, my higher self. Sort of saying, my human is struggling a little bit at the moment. My human is having a bit of a hard time today. That is the ultimate self-compassion, just seeing, talking about yourself through the eyes of your inner being. The more you can see yourself through the eyes of your inner being, which means implicitly seeing yourselves through the eyes of love, and appreciation, then it does help for sure. It gets rid of the self-judgment and the criticism as though there's something fundamentally wrong with me. So the last one I would like to share is about that, very much the connection with our inner being, with the vibrational part of ourselves, the greater part of ourselves. We come forth and we get this, like, human avatar, human suit that we get to wear for this lifetime round. And it's just remembering that our senses are so compelling. Physical reality is so compelling, but at the same time, being able to see beyond that and realize that we have this greater part of ourselves that is source, that is vibrational in nature. And whenever we're feeling low, we're feeling that negative emotion, it is telling us that we are not seeing the world through the eyes of source. We're seeing the world through the eyes of our very human mind. We've temporarily pulled our plug out the wall. We've sort of disconnected from source. And remembering that, yes, we can, the art is balancing the 3D with the 5D. 3D living with 5D creating and manifesting. realizing that, yes, we have this physical body and we got to look after it. We get one for this time round, and it's our job to look after it. We're physically focused, and our body has needs. And the more we can meet those physiological needs and take care of it with the right nutrition, sleep, exercise, stress management, all of that, then the better off we are, the more we can set ourselves up to thrive. So we need to take care of our physical avatar, but also not lose sight of the greater part of ourselves, which is vibrational nature, which is source. Realizing that we can't get to where we want to be just through doing, just through the action journey. We need to combine it with the emotional journey, with the vibrational journey. And alignment is your superpower. We're everything, every thought we think is either coming from a place of resistance or alignment. Every thought we think is either like the equivalent of paddling upstream against the current or the equivalent of floating downstream with the flow of the river. So um, when we're in alignment, we feel amazing. When we're connected to source and we've put our plug in the wall, we've taken the time to ground ourselves, come back to the present moment, and to feel into that love that the universe always has for us, to feel into that connection. So we're decompressing, we've connected with source, and we're feeling those same emotions. We always know when we're in the vortex, like in alignment with source, because we feel amazing. We feel that joy. We feel love. We feel appreciation. We feel excited. We feel empowered. We have that strong desire. We feel energy, physical energy coursing through our body. We feel light. That's how we know we're connected to source. And from that state of alignment, manifesting becomes just the easiest thing in the world. It becomes second nature. That's we can't not manifest. That's what we can't pause creation. We're either manifesting more of what we want or the absence of what we want. And so when we're in alignment, we can manifest with ease. We can manifest from a place of joy. Every thought we think is either taking us in the direction of our desires or taking us in the opposite direction. So really taking that time to to ground ourselves every day and have a like a spirit, a go-to practice that we can ground ourselves into the present moment, but also to come home to ourselves and realize that it's not just about the doing, it's not just about the action journey, it's about the emotional journey. And whenever we're feeling love, joy, and appreciation, we're on the right tracks.
Oh, it's beautiful, Tracy. And, when you mentioned this about doing, I still remember when I was, again, on my journey in the beginning, and I read this sentence that you are not a human doer, you are a human being. And I
Mm,
was like, you mean I don't have to do all these things as a doctor? I don't have to do so much. I can actually slow down and just be kind of in the present moment. And it really changed so much of what I do and how I am right now. And beginning to listen to, like you said, this inner being. And many people don't know what that means, but it's that sense of intuition,
mm,
because so many women, we get this feeling, and we've not been taught to nurture it. And this is what we need to help women to do, right? It's like when you get that feeling of love, it's like I get these little goosebumps all over me. That's it. That's that good thing that you're in alignment. It's feeling good with what you're doing. But when the belly talks and it's like, oh, I get that queasy feeling, that's our intuition. That's our inner being speaking to us, because the only way our source can speak is through us, right? It has to give us signals. But if we actually pay attention to that, then it can lead us in the direction, because we are always going to get something when we listen, when we slow down, we'll get some signal as to where we are and what the next step should be like. And
Yeah.
I can think of times in my life, major times, when I had that queasy feeling in my belly and I didn't listen. And it took me down a path that led me to a lot of difficulty, to say the least. And I can look back now and think, I felt it, but I ignored it because I
Yeah.
wasn't aware at that time in my life that that was a signal. And it's all those subtle little signals that as we start to connect with them, then we become more aware all the time. And that's how
Mm.
we can build, like, again, within the vortex, within this positive vibration. Because we are, I talk to patients too, we are electrical beings, right? We are vibrational beings. So when you're feeling a buzz because you feel good, then that's a good thing,
It's
right?
a very good thing. Exactly.
Or if you're feeling low, like a truck just ran over you, that, you feel so heavy in your body, then that's also a feeling, right? And so
Yeah.
we have
It's
to,
a denser energy. I mean, the lower the emotion on the emotional guidance scale that emotion is, the more disconnected we are feeling from source, and the more we slide into those states of fear and depression and powerlessness, they're also the heavier energies. And we feel it in our body. We got literally no physical energy. We haven't to just even to exercise is too much effort. And so every little bit of effort that we make to feel better incrementally, to feel relief from how we were feeling before, to just feel a little bit lighter and a little bit more connected to source, every little bit of effort is rewarded because the universe is just constantly just responding to our vibration. And our vibration is not like a university degree. It's a moment by moment recalibration. And so it's only responding to how you're feeling right now. It doesn't take stock of how you were feeling 10 minutes ago. The universe doesn't care. It's not focused on the past. And so that in the moment that you make the effort to feel a little bit better, to feel a little bit more loving, a bit more unconditional love, a bit more appreciation, a bit more feeling of excitement or empowerment, you make that effort to feel a little bit better and more connected to source, everything changes, everything shifts around you. And if you're paying attention, you'll notice those shifts. There's only ever two ways to know what's going on vibrationally, and that's by how we're feeling and by what's showing up in our reality. And so every bit of effort is rewarded, and we see the universe responding differently to us. Different people then show up in our reality. And you think about the butterfly effect. Every little thing has an effect on everything else. And every loving gesture, every loving word, every loving thought, every time you make a deliberate effort to focus on appreciation and gratitude instead of and let go of that fear-based thought that just has suddenly popped into your mind, not only are you benefiting in your life and the people around you, but the entire universe is benefiting. And which sounds like a huge, it's mind blowing when you think about it, the butterfly effect.
well, this is the quantum field, right? Which
Yes,
is a whole other topic that we could
a
get
whole
into.
other topic, but that's what I love very much. It's such a powerful reminder of just how powerful we are as the creators of our reality.
And I love, Tracy, though, that you said the incremental steps, because I think, for a lot of people listening, they're like this, and often when they're starting to make some lifestyle changes, they can get very overwhelmed because they think everything has to be done at once. But we all know it's just those little baby steps. And it
Yeah.
is so true. A baby step that's consistent each day is much better than a giant, leap that you're only doing once. But it's those baby steps that lead you toward that consistency. And that can bring people toward this amazing place in their life.
Yeah.
Change transformation is just not one night. It's the desire to move forward and to that.
Baby steps forward, little incremental improvements, getting 1% better each day, and that little bit of effort to just one thought that feels a little bit lighter, feels a little bit better than the thought before is worth the effort. It really is. It's very, very powerful.
Well,
Yeah.
Tracy, this has been wonderful. And I'm so glad that you were able to come on with us today and to kind of just a quick recap of your top 3 shares of wisdom. There's many more, but again, that one of our superpowers is this power of presence, the power of the present moment, that don't believe everything that you think. Can you say that phrase again in Italian about
La
the brain?
mente, la mente mente.
The brain lies, right? The mind lies. And that number 3 was to connect with our inner being. And when
Yeah.
we connect more with who we truly are, that's the beginning of, again, having more and more joy within our life.
More joy, more alignment, more and more of a rewarding life experience, a fun life experience, and an easier ride on our manifesting journey as well.
So, Tracy, if people want to follow along with you, what's the best way to connect?
The best way to connect would be on Facebook. On Facebook, and also on my website, www.grounded-living.com, and by email, coach.tracyoleary.com.
This is wonderful.
I've
Thank you so
also
much
got a Facebook group of the same name, Grounded Living.
for living. Okay. And then your 5-day
The
power
5-day challenge is the Facebook group is the Power of Presence.
Power of presence. Okay, we'll share all those things below and some links for everyone. Thank you so much, Tracy. Such a pleasure to see you and to chat once again. I hope you have an amazing day.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank
Tiffany. Bye-bye.